Hi guys, and welcome to my showcase and tutorial for King of the Hill. King of the Hill is a arena-based plugin which spawns an arena in the sky, houses the King of the Hill game, and then ends the arena. It's a completely safe minigame for your players to join. They're not risking anything when they join. Everything that's on them when they join from anywhere will be restored back to them. So what I'll do is I'll drink a couple of teas and I'll show you. So you can see here I've got some tea, I've got some items. We're going to start the minigame by typing in koth.start. It's going to prompt us to enter the type of arena we want to go for, either the large or the small arena that come with the plugin. We're going to do koth.start space small, and that's spawn now. We're going to do koth.join to join the game. I'll do that on the other account as well. Here we go. Alright, so you can see here my tea's been removed, my metabolism has been reset, and we're basically inputted into the lobby here. So you can see the lobby is kind of just under the arena, and the arena itself spawns high in the sky, which I'll show you when we get up to the top. But basically what happens is when the arena lobby finishes, well, the game starting countdown finishes, the game will assess whether there's enough players in the game to continue, and if it is, it'll start the round. And then basically it'll equip all the players with their equipment and weapons and a couple of med sticks, and yeah, the game begins. You can see here we've got the capture point over there. You can see the arena itself spawns high in the sky. Yeah, and pretty much the way it works is it's I guess there is no standard capture the hill, is there? King of the Hill, sorry. So the way this one works is basically either concludes when the game runs out of time, or if a player manages to hold the hill for 100%. So you can see here, I'm currently the leader, I've got 8%. Let me just bring my other tune over here. So I'm playing on two different computers at the moment. Now currently if I'm here by myself, I can enter and it's going to contest. If I shoot this player, they die. This little thing doesn't normally appear, it's from another plugin, and then yeah, they get removed. The hill also moves to a location, and you can add multiple locations around the arena as well for where you'd like the hill to spawn. By default it comes with a number of different configurations, but yeah, it's pretty much all there is to it. So if any other player enters this zone, it will contest it. That's basically the whole idea of the game, is to hold the zone for the longest and accumulate the time. Everything's configurable, so you can set the time that players are holding the arena for, to obviously match what your requirements are. You can also set the move time, so you can set a minimum and a maximum period of time that the arena will actually move. So rather than it, moving every 30 to 60 seconds, you might want it to move every 1 to 2 minutes. You can set up the full configs for the equipment as well, so you can put whatever equipment you like, whatever weapons and attachments you like. I've seen configurations with grenades and that sort of thing as well. And you can also enable or disable the smoke grenade too, so you can have it so it doesn't spawn smoke, it just spawns this. But yeah, that's really all there is to it. So this is a D-draw. You can see the floating text. You can see this from pretty much anywhere. It shows you your players exactly where the point is. And yeah, basically the game ends when one player gets to 100%, or the timer runs out, and whoever had the highest percentage is deemed the winner. So what I'll do is I'll pause the recording and we'll come back when we're closer to 100%. Okay, so we're approaching the win now. What's going to happen here is when the game finishes, it's going to announce me as the winner and basically teleport everyone back. You can tell, see, I've got a reward ready to be redeemed. Teleports us back, we're naked, and then all of our stuff is basically re-added. So we get the ore yield back, we get all of our equipment back with our attachments, and then yeah, I get to redeem some prizes. So you can either do that with the King of the Hill redemption command, or you can, if you're running my notifications plugin, you can click on this and redeem your prize. And yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Nice, safe, easy mini game for your players to join and have fun with. Very similar to King of the Hill, so to Survival Arena and paintball and all them. The maps themselves between paintball, survival arena, sorry, not survival arena, paintball, gun game, zombie infection, and King of the Hill are all compatible with each other as well. So you can put the JSON file into any of the maps folders for the relevant plugins, and you'll be able to interchange the maps between those game modes. Anyway, hope you guys enjoy. Any questions, feedbacks, concerns, let me know. What we will do very quickly is we'll move to the config, and I'll show you kind of how customizable and how it can be set up. Okay, so we're in the configuration. We'll just take it line by line and explain what each of these settings actually do. So under the game settings category, we have minimum players required for the event to proceed, which is 2. So if at least two or more players are in the lobby when the countdown completes, the event will proceed. Lobby time is 5 minutes by default, so 300 seconds. Use the night vision plugin. True, basically what this means is if you have the night vision plugin on your server, it will apply the night vision and lock the player's time to day, which means even during the night time this event will run and be fine. Starting health is set to 100 by default. This is how much health the player spawns with when they die. Capture time that will end the event. This is basically how long a player has to hold the point down for, basically to win the event. So you know, even if the point moves, this will accumulate their held time, and this is the target they need to hit. This is basically divided into a percentage on the plugin itself. So the 100% bar you saw is just simply the percentage of 90 seconds that the player's held. Maximum time the game will go for in seconds, which is 600 seconds or 10 minutes. What that means is when the game finishes, it's going to assess who had the highest hold time and reward that player when that game finishes. How often should we update players with the UI? So basically this is every 2 seconds the player will get a UI update explaining the current status of the hill, the total time that's been held by them, the total time being held by the highest sort of winning team at the moment. And yeah, so it's 2's a pretty good number unless you're running hundreds of players on this event, which in case you probably want to increase it slightly, but yeah, it's just a performance thing. How long should a player remain invulnerable for after spawning? This is just to stop spawn camping. So if a player spawns and before they even have a chance to kind of work out where they are, they just get killed immediately. So this gives them a bit of immunity. You can set this to whatever number you like, and 0 is a valid value as well. Hill settings. So we've got the size of the hill, which is basically the size of the bubble itself. This is the bubble darkness. This is how dark you want the bubble to be. High numbers means the bubble's darker. Add a colored sphere to the capture point. This is what gives it that red sort of glow. So if you don't want them to be red, if you just want them to be black, you can set that to false. Colored sphere prefab path. We obviously use the red sphere path here. You can play around with this if you know what you're doing. Add the supply smoke, signal smoke to mark the capture point. Again, true or false if you don't want that little supply signal smoke to appear above it. Minimum time before the hill moves and maximum time before the hill moves is 45 and 75 seconds respectively. So what it'll do is when the hill moves, it'll pick a random number between these two values, and that'll be the next move, hill move time. Alright, so we've got event settings. Prevent players from entering the area if they have items on them. So if you don't want players to even be able to attempt to join the arena with items on them, set that to true. Otherwise, the plugin will just cache the player's items. The next option is return the player's items back immediately after the player wakes up after respawn. So basically, when in the sort of the previous part of the video, when the event ended and I was returned back to where I was, as soon as I woke up, that's when my items were returned back to me. If you have conflicts with other plugins that are doing other stuff when you wake up, just set that to false, and they'll require a command in order to basically return them to where they are and get their items back. We also have the option here to delay the retrieval of items by a second. Set this to true if you're using things like the kits plugin or restore upon death. So again, that just delays that item restoration by a second just to prevent the conflicts there. Use the event helper plugin to schedule the events. This is the helper plugin I run for a lot of my events. It basically just allows players to vote for events that they want to play, and it'll obviously randomly pick events to run on a periodic basis as well. Commands to prevent the player, so when a player is not at the event, so kits, backpack, and backpack.open are the obvious ones, but if there's anything else in your server that you want to blacklist, you can just add the commands on there. Allow players to stay in a team when they join the events. Set to true if using any sort of clan management plugin. So if you've got a plugin that manages your clans that isn't the vanilla team experience, you want to have this, make sure this is true. The downside is obviously players will stay in a team and they can see each other, which is not ideal for a free-for-all match. But yeah, that's kind of the trade-off. If you set that to false and you have the plugin manage the teams, it's going to put them back into random teams and it just gets all messy. So if you're running clans, leave that as true. If you're not running clans, you're probably right to set that to false. A list of players so items that cannot be taken into the event. So these are blacklisted items that even if they're in the inventory and we try to store them, they basically can't join the event when these things are in their inventory or their backpacks. So these are probably things like art pieces of artwork that would otherwise be destroyed if they get serialized. So yeah, just add whatever you think you need in there and off you go. And it's just a matter of, adding the short name, blah blah blah, or blah blah blah. Yeah. Prevent players who are flagged with the no escape plugin from joining the event. Again, just simple yes or no if you want them or don't want them. Prevent XP loss when dying at the event. What if this is for skill tree? So if you don't want players to lose XP when they die, then highly recommend keeping that true. Prevent players from losing their backpack when dying at the event. Again, highly recommend keeping that true because they can't even access their backpack, so it shouldn't really impact them. Prevent the player from opening the backpack while the event is true. Commands to run for each player when the game starts and the gates open. Use the ID in replacement of the player Steam ID. So for example, I don't know, if you want to say give all the players an item, you can do like I don't know, whatever the command, I actually don't know what the give command is. So give ID rifle.ak. Not that you'd ever do that, but you can if you wanted to. A couple of use cases would be things like night vision goggles, that sort of thing. If you're not running the night vision plugin, you can give them a set of night vision goggles or a torch, and that'll run, as they do that. You can also use it for other plugins as well. There's particular commands you want to run at the start of the event. Command to run for each player when they leave the game. So a couple of use cases here would be things like giving them server reward points if they leave the event, or a little bit of XP or something. It's entirely up to you. And it's formatted exactly the same. ID is obviously replacement for the player Steam ID. Prevent buffs from the skill tree from being active or from activating. So basically what this means is when the player joins the event, it'll temporarily disable all of their skill tree buffs. So again, set that to true if you want that to be the case, otherwise leave it as false. Time after the game is won before the players are returned home. So this is once the winner has been announced, before the game actually ends and players are taken back. These are just the commands for joining, leaving, restoring and redeeming items. I believe they all double up as console commands as well, so they can be run as either chat or console. Effect to play when the game starts. This is the effect that plays when a player is killed, when the flag is being captured, when the player leaves the capture zone, and when the zone moves. And then this is your profile for weapons. So we can create multiple profiles. You can see here we've got a couple of different profiles selected here. Varying depending on what's required. So you got, like, for example, one that has a bow and some arrows and shit. We've got one that has like an SKS rifle, or we have ones that have an AK-47 or a Thompson machine gun. And what happens here is it'll pick a random one based on the weighted value. So if you want particular profiles to be more common, you can increase this number. Prize settings. This is how many prizes the player gets per roll. So how many rolls per point. Player gets 1 point per win. Do we automatically reward the prizes when the player is, when they win? So set that to false by default, but if you want them to run the command, otherwise you can set that to true and it should give them the reward after they wake up. Item prizes, we can see here we've got scrap by default, but you can have as many of these as you like. Just copy and paste this and add information here that matches what you want to give the player in terms of items. It also supports economics and server rewards. It'll give them a random value between this and this based on your requirements. If you want to disable these, you can just set them to 0 and 0, and that'll stop them from working. You can also give them a list of commands that are fired off to the winner as well. So whoever wins the event, you can run like like give XP ID 1000, give them like 1000 skill tree XP or something like that. And these are just placeholder prefabs, so basically these are just the types of trees that'll spawn in the arid, temperate, tundra, arctic and jungle biomes. So the way the plugin works is obviously depending on where the cliffs are positioned, where the arena is positioned, it's going to inherit whatever topology is below it. So same with the logs, same with the bush prefabs, tundras, jungles, that sort of stuff. So outside of settings is basically prevents players from flying up in like a minicopter from entering the zone. If they enter the zone, this is how many seconds they have to vacate before they're killed. And this just basically adds a mono behavior to the player and checks every second, and if they're still in the zone by the time it counts down, it kills them. And we also ignore admins by default. Notification settings, so the notify plugins basically shows set notification when the plugin, set notifications using the notify plugin, send when the event is being advertised, and send when the player has items they need to recover. So it just shows a little pop-up in the top right corner of your screen using the UI notify plugin. GUI announcements, again, same sort of thing. It just shows, the announcement that the game's starting. And these are just different commands, so different chat sort of messages. So see chat message when the game begins, when it's cancelled, announce the winner, and tell everyone that no one won the event. Spectator settings. Now this one here, it's in the plugin at the moment. I've played around with it, but probably needs a bit of testing. It allows players to jump onto the CCTV camera and actually spectate players. So you can allow players to use a computer station to spectate. You can use third or first person. So use third person camera, which basically puts the camera behind the player and shows them there. Otherwise, you can have it as first person. The death feed is basically whenever a player shoots another player, it shows them the death feed to all of the participants, and it'll show you this is the maximum amount of kills you can have showing up on the death feed. But yeah, that's pretty much all there is to it. Pretty straightforward plugin, pretty customizable as well, so you can have a lot of fun sort of playing around with it. But like I said before, if you have any questions, any suggestions, any feedback, let me know. But I hope you guys enjoy.